Hi everyone, my name is Tondway McCarthy and I am a 7th generation African Canadian and a spoken word poet. How does my blackness influence my art? Well, I would say it influences it in every way you can think of. I live being black. I go to work being black. I go to school and study being black. So, of course, when I use my poetry and express what I observe in life, it is through the lens of blackness. So, I would say, of course, being black has influenced my art for the better. And to just go over what it's like to be a black person in today's climate, I have a poem called Black Men. In order to be, our fears must not be shared, or we risk their shackling prescriptions. In order to be, our happiness must benefit the system, or we risk their financial manipulation. In order to be, our anger must constantly be contained, or we risk their castrating solutions. In order to be, our sadness must always be silent, or we risk their calloused ignorance. In order to be, our disgust must forever be hidden, or we risk their expensive isolation. In order to be, we must not. How would I use my art to advocate for social change? That's a good question. I think just as a part of who I am, I'm constantly rallying against the system and rules. And when things are unfair, that tends to motivate me to write the most. And in 2020, there are many things unfair going on. So I found particularly the story of Breonna Taylor to be the most nightmarish case of injustice that I have ever heard. And I've written a poem about it. That poem is called Say Her Name. One night, while out seeking justice, armed with a no-knock warrant, loaded weapons, and a wrong address, 3 officers found an innocent woman asleep. They forced their justice into her home, forced their bodies into her room, forced their weapons into her dreams, then shot her 8 times. 8 times in her own bed, 8 times in her own room, 8 times in her own house, 8 times for a wrong address. Softly asleep in that well-earned dream, Breonna Taylor woke to the explosive nightmare of her own death. Sadly, it took its time. For that nightmare lasted 20 minutes. 20 minutes she screamed pain into the walls once painted to calm her. 20 minutes she bled bile into the blankets once bought to comfort her. And 20 minutes she spent staring at the 3 police officers once tasked to protect her. And 20 minutes later, after shooting an innocent woman awake only to watch her bleed back out of reality, these officers went back to work. Police officers Miles Cosgrove, Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hawkinson killed Breonna Taylor's dreams, spent 20 minutes watching her die, and society has found nothing criminal, nothing wrong, nothing systemic with the constant and brutal destruction of innocent black dreams. Black dreams found forever wishing to not be viewed as living dangerously at the wrong address in society. When we talk about art's influence on the community, I think what we're really saying is how much do you bring yourself into spaces that don't usually understand your life story and experiences. And as a poet, I find myself constantly bringing a unique spin to experiences most people feel. And none other do I feel the understanding and the importance of creativity and culture more than the indigenous ceremony to welcome the African community that happened in 2020. And it was at this ceremony that I felt such a powerful bonding of spirits that I wrote a poem that I just wanted to read to celebrate such a wonderful moment of community. And that poem was called Woliawin. I am proud to be here in this celebration of truth, because it is a truth most universal, and when one is faced with absolute truth, it helps awaken the deeper memories. In sharing sunset with you all, I remember that perhaps some truths cannot and need not be printed and published in science papers. No, perhaps science leads not to all truths. Maybe some truths are more memories, needing only to be felt, experienced, found inside, but not with a microscope. For I never needed science to confirm my connection to my culture, nor did I need science to explain at length my purpose on our planet. Because these are truths we feel, truths we are all born with, and we need only slow our lives down enough to be reminded of them. So here we are tonight, cultures bound through the carnage of colonization, putting down our smartphones and instead choosing to place our intention where it matters. Now remembering that our daily information overload of social media has done nothing to fill the dusty bowl of our endlessly attacked spirituality. Because the truth is, we are all family whose future grows brighter, us stronger, when we slow down to share moments built of songs, ceremony, and sunsets. Woliawin. If I were to give a single piece of advice for the Black youth of today, it would be to create. Create, 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 because society at every turn is going to try and take away your individuality. And through creation and creativity, you defend who you are. So if you are a painter, if you are a singer, if you draw, rap, write poetry, spoken word, short stories, anything, I think the best thing for you to do to forge your own path through society is to just create. Defend your creativity, and I promise you, when you show the world who you really are through your creativity, the world will show you what you actually need. So again, create.
And it owns the big lord.
If I